There's this really strange thing happening in the business world right now. On one hand, you have executives totally gripped by AI FOMO, that fear of missing out, and they're just pouring billions and billions of dollars into the technology. But on the other hand, most of these super expensive AI projects are quietly failing. So let's get into it. Why is the big AI race producing so many casualties?
So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Why are so many of these promising initiatives just fizzling out? If you've ever wondered why your company's exciting AI pilot never quite made it out of the lab and into the real world, believe me, you are not alone. It's a huge problem, and as you're about to see, the numbers, well, they're kind of shocking.
Get this. According to S&P Global Market Intelligence, the rate of AI projects getting abandoned shot up to 42% last year. Now, just to give you some perspective, that number was only 17% the year before. So this isn't just a little blip on the radar, it's a full-blown crisis. And the research is very clear on this. The technology isn't the problem. The strategy is.
I absolutely love this analogy because it just nails the core mistake. So many companies are taking this incredibly powerful, advanced AI and just trying to bolt it onto old, clunky, and often totally broken business processes. They're hoping for some kind of magic fix, but instead of getting innovation, they're just getting what the experts call accelerated operational failure. And all this failure, well, it's created a massive AI graveyard. It's just littered with these abandoned prototypes and proofs of concept that never, ever delivered on their big promises. To figure out how to avoid this fate, we first have to really understand how so many projects end up here in the first place. Okay, so the research boils this all down to three huge mistakes. Let's call them the three deadly sins that are derailing AI in big companies. Once we understand these, we can start to build a real playbook for success. Let's start with the most common trap of them all. The first sin is something called model fetishism. This is what happens when the tech teams fall in love with the technology itself. They get obsessed with accuracy scores, performance metrics, all the technical stuff, and they completely lose sight of the actual business problem they're supposed to be solving. This is what leads to pilot purgatory. You get these projects that are technically brilliant in a lab, but they're totally useless in the real world because they don't actually fix anything. Now check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting. This shows where the actual value in AI comes from. Success is 70% about people and process change, 20% about data and infrastructure, and only 10% about the algorithm itself. Model fetishism flips that completely upside down. It spends all the time and energy on that tiny 10% slice, and then everyone wonders why the whole project falls apart. And this obsession often leads companies to lean way too hard on what's called horizontal or general-purpose AI. Think of it like this. A horizontal tool might help everyone in the company write emails 5% faster. Okay, that's nice, but the benefit is spread so thin you can barely see the impact on the bottom line. The real wins, they come from vertical AI, a specific solution that analyzes geological data to find the single most profitable spot to drill for oil. See the difference? One is a nice to have, the other creates massive, measurable value. Without that focus, you're just doing what's called productivity theater. It looks busy, but it doesn't accomplish much. All right, sin number 2 is a tricky one. It's a mental trap called automation bias. It's our natural human tendency to just overtrust what a computer tells us. We start treating an AI's output like it's a hard fact, when what it really is a probabilistic suggestion based on the data it was fed. And that little misunderstanding can have some really, really serious consequences. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. When a major tech company built an AI for recruiting, it actually learned to filter out amazing female candidates because it was just mimicking biased hiring data from the past. A major healthcare algorithm was found to systematically underestimate the health needs of minority patients, leading to worse care. When we blindly trust the machine's output, we don't just make a mistake. We scale that mistake across the entire organization. And that brings us to sin number 3, automating the mess. This goes right back to that horse and carriage analogy, right? If your internal processes are a total mess, siloed, inefficient, full of bottlenecks, just throwing AI at the problem doesn't fix a thing. It just helps your broken process fail faster and burn through a whole lot more cash while doing it. The goal should never be to just speed up a broken function, but to redesign how work flows. Okay, so we've seen the graveyard, we've diagnosed the sins. So how do we actually avoid all this? The solution is to completely flip the script. Instead of starting with the technology, we have to start with the single most important thing, the decision we want to improve. This is the whole idea behind a discipline called decision intelligence. A decision-first approach follows a really clear roadmap. You start by pinpointing your most critical business decisions. Then, you figure out if you even have the right data. You select platforms that can actually scale. You start by piloting the use cases with the highest impact first. You train your people to work with the AI, not against it. And finally, you are constantly monitoring and improving. See? It's a real strategy, not just another tech purchase. And when you get this right, AI stops being just a simple automation tool. It becomes so much more. It can be a researcher that sifts through millions of documents in seconds, an interpreter that spots a tiny market trend no human could see, or even a thought partner that challenges your assumptions and helps you avoid groupthink. It becomes a true dispassionate advisor. Now, a huge piece of making this all work, and I mean, this is absolutely critical, is formally building humans into the process. This isn't about taking a step backward to manual work. It's about creating a powerful partnership between human expertise and machine intelligence. It's a concept known as human in the loop, or HITL for short. And if you want proof of how powerful that partnership is, just look at this. It's brilliant. In medical diagnostics, an AI working together with a human expert achieves 92.3% accuracy. That's a full 28% higher than the AI trying to do it all by itself. This proves it. Human oversight isn't a weakness. It's an essential ingredient for building trust, for safety, and for getting way better results. So let's be super clear about this. The goal here is talent amplification, not replacement. The best systems treat AI like a dependable teammate. It handles all the repetitive, high-volume stuff, which frees up the human experts to focus on complex, high-value work where their judgment and context are absolutely irreplaceable. Okay, final piece of the puzzle. None of this, absolutely none of it, works with clear ownership. The single biggest reason AI projects fail to scale is a total lack of governance. If nobody is accountable, great ideas will always stay as fragmented little experiments. This solution is to create a cross-functional AI governance committee. This group should have leaders from legal, IT, security, and the business side. And their job is to set the rules of the road, defining usage policies, creating a formal approval process, assigning clear ownership for every system, and making sure everything can be tracked and audited. A super simple but really powerful tool for assigning that ownership is the classic Rossi matrix. For every single AI system, you clearly define who is responsible for running it day to day, who is ultimately accountable if it messes up, which experts need to be consulted before changes are made, and which stakeholders just need to be kept informed. This cuts through all the confusion and creates the clear lines of accountability you need to go from a cool experiment to a core part of the business. All right, so let's boil this all down. Escaping the AI graveyard really requires 3 critical shifts in thinking. First, you have to move from being model-centric to being decision-centric. Second, you need to shift your mindset from pure automation to smart augmentation. And third, you have to go from a fragmented anything-goes approach to one that is properly governed. And really, these 3 shifts are the difference between success and failure, between creating real value and just adding another headstone to the AI graveyard. It all comes down to this one strategic question to take back to your team. Are you just building another tool, or are you building a truly dependable teammate?